we get started on our drawings, let's talk a little bit about cross-hatching as a technique. It seems like hatching became really popular in Europe in the Middle Ages. It was used for woodblock prints. So the way that works is that you carve into a block of wood, and the areas that you carve out become the white space or the negative space, and the areas that remain, they'll be coated with ink. And then when you print it, those are the areas that will show up as black. And that means that there's no room for subtle shading like you might get from pencil or paint. So what medieval printmakers did is they used hatching. And there are lots of examples of this in woodblock books. They were also used to make playing cards. There's not a lot of detail, but you can tell the artist is trying to create dimension with these lines. This technique was really taken to the next level with intaglio printing. Now intaglio printing makes things a lot easier because you can just draw your drawing onto a piece of metal, and then those lines that you've drawn, they become black. You don't have to carve out the whole background, you can just focus on the drawing. Naturally, this was a lot easier for printmakers, so they were able to really refine cross-hatching and do some incredible things. And you might recognize some names like Rembrandt and Dürer. Here are a few other ones that, if you're looking for inspiration, they're a great resource. This period from the 1400s through the 1600s, that's the period that I look back to for inspiration. Of course, nowadays we've got a lot of new printing techniques. Think about lithography, like these famous posters from Toulouse-Lautrec, or of course inkjet digital printing. Think about newspapers. That's all at a much faster speed and a larger scale than any printmaking from this original era that I'm talking about. And you can achieve a variety of different effects with those techniques. You can also do them much more quickly and with less effort. But still, there are some artists that have carried this cross-hatching technique into the modern day. And those include Picasso. He was a big cross-hatcher actually, and one of my favorites, Katie Kollwitz, who's a German artist. So while this isn't a technique you're likely to hear about in your high school art class, a lot of people are wanting to learn it nowadays, and I'm glad to be able to teach it to you. So now that we've talked about the technique, let's actually put it to use.